Speaking of hermit crabs, though, I want to talk a little bit about the Vatican archives.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of...
Luke and Nate mentioned that they had someone on. It was a lady, right? That like went supposedly into the archives.
She was allowed to look in the archives. Crazy.
Oh, I want to hear more. I want to listen to that podcast because like the video I saw, it's so rare for someone to be able to get access to the archives because of there's just so much in there.
Mm-hmm.
But in the 1920s, let me start off with this. What it said is this can't be 100% confirmed because you can't take stuff out of the archives, right? Or you can't even take pictures.
Yeah.
But in the 1920s, there's a Russian professor. His name was Gingrich Ludwig.
Gingrich Ludwig.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess he was able to have access to the archives.
What do you got to do to get access to the archives?
That's what I'm saying.
It's literally like, yeah, you just have to sign up. It's like you just got to ask.
Nobody signs up.
This guy down there just.
The receptionist is like, I haven't seen
pen
him.
and clipboard. Like,
Every guy that you've ever passed with a clipboard and said no to, that's literally what it was. They're like, please just come visit. We have really cool books.
But he said that there's 53 miles worth of shelving in the archives.
Wait, how big is the Vatican?
It's pretty big.
They all have it just in one bookshelf line.
It doesn't mean it doesn't like it could just be like back and forth and up.
Yeah, no, that's
stacked.
Please.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. Imagine Lily's mind immediately just went to one tunnel.
Andy, though, it did though.
We're gonna have to buy more property this way. It's like no, just you can go higher with the shelving. No, how am I supposed to reach it? A ladder? Shut up.
Can I cut you off real quick?
You already have, but
okay. There's something weird happening with my brain. The other day, Clarissa was over and somebody was asking me to do math. I pulled my calculator out and I thought I was multiplying the numbers by the right numbers. Instead, she said she was observing me. I cleared out my calculator and I typed in the answer. That was correct.
In your mind had already done it?
My mind had already done the math.
She did like 135 times 13
It was
or whatever.
125 times 3. And I thought I was, which is kind of easy math. Like I'm not, whatever. But
yeah, totally.
But she like typed it in and then cleared it and then typed the
answer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I Rain Man? Like, what the heck? What the heck?
But yeah, he also reported that there are 35,000 catalogs, basically like books and like all like it's just stacked.
Yeah.
And he walked up on this one section, which was, he called it the alien section.
Oh boy.
So these ancient books about aliens and stuff.
What languages are they written in?
Latin.
Golly.
Dang, so you gotta know, that's like one precursor.
It was Latin, Hebrew, Arabic. I mean, just like all these old ancient texts, but I think that it's primarily Latin.
Creole. So if you want to get something out of it, you should probably know Latin.
Yeah.
Lily picks it up and just instantly just reads it.
I'm like, why did they pick me? Why did they pick me?
But he says the books in there are so old, they have on record 12 centuries of European history, which is nuts. I mean, that's like, it goes way back. But he said he started reading through these books and he came across the craziest stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Where they're calling them aliens, but that term wasn't coined yet, I don't think. But it was just like star people, creatures, or angels, or people from space coming down in crafts. And it said, like, these books talked about how these star people taught all the ancient civilizations different things. Like they taught the ancient people how to build the pyramids and taught the Mayans things and like all this crazy, crazy stuff. And then this is what I thought was the craziest part. So this was in 1920, right?
Yeah.
This was before the nuclear bomb was made. So no one knew what a nuclear bomb would be, right?
Oh, boy.
But he writes down that these things had these weapons, and he wrote it down, and today we're like, those are nuclear weapons. Basically, it talked about how they would use them, and I guess they used it once on Babylon, and it said that this weapon that these things possess melted the walls of Babylon with the amount of energy and heat that they produce.
Is that historically accurate? Like, do we know about
I don't know.
Catastrophe in Babylon?
I don't know. But I just thought that was insane.
That's
I'm just
wild.
like
crazy.
And I'm just like, why are they hiding this stuff? Mm-hmm. You know, like I feel like they probably know more about like what's happening now. I don't know.
Like why can't we have access to those things? Like I understand. Like I want to know the reason behind it.
Why is the? It just seems like the Roman Catholic Church is a little bit of like the gatekeepers.
Yeah,
of
they're
like,
gatekeepy. That's what they are.
Of like information that, well, it's proven that like whenever they didn't like something, like because there's good popes and bad popes throughout history. Some of them are really bad, and
good popes, bad popes.
Really deemed like political. Like so, they're like the political. Like they were like the kings. You know, it was like the king and then the pope, but the pope really had more power than the king. Mm-hmm. But they would take books out and they would change stuff that would fit the narrative of like what they wanted to be portrayed.
I mean, like even just you look at the Reformation with Martin Luther.
Exactly.
He was like, you guys are making yourselves important and it's Christ and Christ alone.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, we should transcribe this so they can understand it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not knocking the Roman Catholic Church because I don't know too much about it.
I'll knock it.
But it is, we should never hold one man above all.
No.
A mortal man.
Unless it is
Unless that man
Danny DeVito. Oh.
I should have said Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito, Gordon Ramsay, tomato. Is it true that they have like triggers inside those libraries that like take out oxygen?
What?
Like if there's a fire,
I don't know. Oh,
they
yeah,
say
probably,
if there's a fire in those in the Vatican, like in the library, they have thing where it like it just sucks out all the oxygen. So if you're in there and something happens, you're dead, bro.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting.
And I mean,
that's a common thing in
why
like
not?
safes and stuff.
Oh,
that's
really?
that's a risk you should be willing to take.
Yeah.
If you're going to go in there, because like that stuff is that's probably really valuable stuff.
That's one way to get got. Okay, you're invited to the Vatican library.
Sure.
Or the Vatican as a whole. You've got 45 minutes.
Oh, that's not a lot of time.
I know. It's a very short amount of time.
Can you read Latin?
Yes, you are equipped with all necessary things to be able to take in information. What section are you going to? You're going to the alien section?
Absolutely.
I want to know the history of the Catholic Church. I want to know the good, the bad, the ugly. And I wonder if they wrote any of it down.
I'm sure.
I want the Pope's recipes.
You're going to the kitchen?
Rice casserole.
This is the Vatican. What's a V word that starts with for food? I can't even think
Vatican.
of it. I was trying to do some fun.
Red velvet cake.
The Vatican velvet cake.
Yeah. But it was in 2007 or 2008. There was a UFO that appeared over the Vatican.
Really?
People got pictures of it. It was like a disc, and it was like glowing orange, and it was just like hovering above the Vatican. I think it was above like St. Peter's Cathedral or something. I don't know what it was, but I'm like, dude, my thoughts aren't connecting fully, but like,
no, how could, like, that's the thing. How could it, like, we have so many missing pieces. The only thing we can do is try to connect dots.
Yeah.
I love the idea that aliens are like peeking out over like, see, I told you wore a funny hat. Look at that. Look at them.
And I have another story that connects that story to this next story, but I will tell this next story.
Don't say it.
After the end! Don't go anywhere!